think we can all agree. We like how he plays. We like the skill set. But you have got to play with a little more fire, a little more compete. You gotta turn that care meter up. Find that dial that goes to 11, 11, 11, 11, 11. Turn it up, crank that sucker up. And I think that's exactly the message that the coaching staff has been trying to preach. The skill's there, the talent's there. But man, it is frustrating to watch when it doesn't come together on a regular basis. Back to the phones we go. We got Pedram on line 4. Great night to be on the couch and watching hockey. Tons of scores around the league. Let's take a look at what went down. The Jets went toe-to-toe on the road against the Blue Jackets. Columbus tested their skills in the shootout portion, and they passed with flying colors in the skills competition. The Sens faced off against the Capitals. Ottawa powered their way defensively all night long to a shutout victory. The Oilers were on the road to take on the Lightning. Edmonton took it in overtime. We got to take a quick pause for the cause, but we got a lot more coming up on the other side. Stay with us. Okay, everybody, let's take a quick look at some of the final scores around the league tonight. The Senators took on the Canadiens. Montreal puts up a strong defensive front when it mattered most, and they get the win. The Predators were hoping their offense would show up in a big way against the Wild. Minnesota totals the opposition with a big offensive night. The Lightning played a game against the Capitals. Tampa Bay pulls this one out in a game that went right down to the finish. Time for a quick break, but we got a lot more coming up on the ice next. Now let's take a look at some of the rest of the action tonight in the NHL. The Ducks were looking to steal 2 against the Avalanche. Anaheim takes this one thanks to a beautiful performance in goal for the shutout win. The Blues had a tall order to fill as they tried to take 2 on the road against the Red Wings. Detroit popped home the overtime winner to take the 2 points. The story on the ice continues in a moment. Well, busy night in the National Hockey League. Let's see what happened elsewhere on the ice. The Flyers were in a dogfight on the road against the Jets. Philadelphia toasted the opposition with a big goal-scoring night. The Hurricanes had their hands full with the Flames. Carolina padded the stats in this one, scoring at will. The Blackhawks had an on-ice collision with the Sharks. Chicago totally dominant in this one, scoring at will, it seemed, in the win. Lots more puck talk coming your way, and we'll get to it next. All right, at this time, let's get you caught up on all the action on the ice tonight. The Flames faced off with the Oilers. Calgary played great defensively, but it was an extra special performance in goal as they get the shutout win. The Kings battled it out against the Stars. Dallas turns it up to another level in this one, and they pick up the win. The Blues were hoping to fly high on the road against the Kraken. St. Louis posts the victory on the heels of a big-time performance in the shootout. We got to take a quick break, but we got a lot more coming your way next. You know, and I think one of the other storylines to me that I'm intrigued by is, you know, you look at what we've seen from him, and yes, we all know he's a talented player, but can he win? Can he win the Stanley Cup? And I think that question needs to be asked now because, you know, he's been in the league for more than a half a decade. I like what he said this week, that he's all in, that he is ready to be in it to win it. You know, I think he's going to need his teammates to be in that same mindset as well, right? I mean, he can only control what he can control, but let's see if there's a different player out there on the ice this year because, you know, I think there's a lot of talent there, but I think a lot of people have kind of seen, like, can he break on through to be great, right? There's very good, and then there's great. And I think we're waiting to see if he can make that jump and win the Stanley Cup. All right, to the phones we go. Matthew is on line 4. You know, and the whole narrative and the expression being good in the room, right? You know, chemistry is important with a team. You know, how many times have we seen teams that are absolutely stacked with talent and they fall apart? Why? Because there was just a disconnect within the room. And I know with some reporters and some of the media members asking the kid, saying, hey, you know what, why? Well, how do you endear yourself to teammates more? I don't know if there's ever really an answer. I mean, you can go out and, you know, try to be the best player you can be. That's one way to do it. You know, personally speaking, I think another great way to do it is buying everybody pizza. Because, you know who likes pizza? Everybody, right? Everybody loves pizza. Let's go back to the phones here. Let's go to Brent. Brent is on line 3. All right, lots of wild happenings on the ice tonight. Let's take a look at some of the scores of what went down. The Oilers were hoping to take a bite out of the Avalanche. Colorado triumphs with a big offensive effort. Well, that's all she wrote for this one, but let's get you caught up on some of the other finals. All right, let's get all you poolies and all you hockey fans caught up on all the action out on the ice tonight. The Hawks were hoping to play spoiler against the Avalanche. Colorado pushes past in a tight one. This wasn't the only game in the league tonight. Let's get you caught up on some of the other finals. The Blue Jackets were hoping to grab 2 points up against the Wild. Columbus torches the opposition with a big offensive output. The Islanders look to run roughshod over the Maple Leafs. The New York Islanders took this one with a strong defensive effort in their own end. Hey, we got to pay a couple of bills here, but we got a lot more action we got to get to. Stay with us. Was there any volatility in the standings across the NHL tonight? Well, let's take a look at some of the final scores to find out. The Stars took to the road to match up with the Avalanche. Colorado tightened it up late in their own end and did enough to preserve the win. No shortage of action in the National Hockey League. Let's take a look at elsewhere what went down. The Panthers took to the ice to lock up with the Devils. Florida posts the win in a tightly contested affair. The Canes were on the road up against the Bruins. Carolina taps into another gear and pick up the 2 points in the win. Don't go anywhere. We've got much more here on the show. Time to take a look at what happened around the league as we check in on some of the scores. The Blue Jackets were on the road to take on the Flyers. Philadelphia posts an impressive win in a tightly contested affair. The Preds took to the road to match up with the Canadiens. Montreal tucks home the overtime winner. The Senators were hoping to quiet the crowd on the road against the Oilers. Ottawa powers their way to victory, showing a lot of grit in both ends of the ice. We got a jam-packed show. We've got a lot more stuff we got to get to, so don't even think about going anywhere. Stay with us.
NHL Live.